everybody. It's Billie again. Today we want to have a look at connected speech. Now I'd like to start with a definition of what connected speech really is. And I've written it down here for you. So connected speech is really this continuous stream of sounds in spoken language. So as soon as we open our mouth, we have a conversation, we say something, we say sentences, we give a speech, we talk to someone, we speak in connected speech. And there's usually no clear boundaries between our words. So there's certain things that happen in connected speech, and that's our topic for today. Let's have a look at a couple of examples. So you probably know already that words can sound very different when they're said in isolation compared to when they're in a sentence. The pronunciation often changes and the words sound different, and often it actually sounds like one long word. So I've given you two examples here. We have two sentences. They are here and they want to eat. Now I've overpronounced this a little bit. So naturally we would just say they're here and they want to eat. So they are here becomes they're here, and they want to eat becomes and they want to eat. So there's certain things that happen. You've noticed this already. It sounds different to the individual words. They are here and they want to eat. I sound like a robot. That's not natural at all. Of course, this is not what we would say. So that's the topic for today's video. We want to have a look at what happens in the sentence and why it sounds so different. And there's another example as well. I'll see you next week. I will see you next week becomes I'll see you next week. And there's certain things that happen. You might have noticed already that certain sounds change a little bit here, and that's exactly what we want to talk about today. Because what happens in connected speech is that sounds change, sounds are lost, and sounds are added. All three things can happen, and they usually do within a sentence, and you will notice that in the sentences I've given you, there's certain things that happen, and actually all three things happened here. Sounds changed, sounds were lost, and sounds were added. So let's have a look at each of these things individually. But before we do this, I just wanted to introduce you to the official terms. So when sounds change, we call this assimilation. And you can remember this by thinking a sound changes to become more similar. So more similar assimilation. Then when sounds are lost, they're deleted. So we call this elision. And sounds are added, there's intrusion from a new sound. So let's have a look at each of these three things individually now. So we'll start with assimilation. Sounds change to become more similar to sounds nearby. This is really a simple definition of what assimilation is. So I've given you two examples here on this slide. So first of all, you've got I live in Barcelona. Now we've got the word in followed by Barcelona, and the last sound in is an n. And then you've got Barcelona starting with a b. And you can see this on my lips already. B is formed by closing both my lips. And when we say in followed by Barcelona fast, just at natural speed, look what happens and listen to what happens. I live in Barcelona. I live in Barcelona. So you can actually, I think you can hear it, but if you can't hear it, you can definitely see it. The in changes into in Barcelona because we get ready to say Barcelona, and so we close our lips already, and instead of a n sound, we say in Barcelona. So just say it a couple of times yourself. Listen to yourself and maybe also watch yourself in the mirror and you can actually see it. The next one is the same assimilation actually, even if it's a different word. We have there's only one boat. So one also ends with a n, and then the following word starts with a b again. So it's exactly the same. We have assimilation. N changes into and the one becomes one boat. So we actually say one. But of course only if there's a boat coming next, okay? There's only one boat. So those are two examples of assimilation. However, assimilation is not always an n changing into an sound. There are other changes possible as well, and I've given you some more examples here in these other two sentences. So we have, for example, he only has 10 coins. So we've got 10 ending in an n, and then we've got coins next, and that word starts with a k sound. Okay, so remember we're talking about sounds, not letters. Yes, this is a C, but we are only interested in sounds here. So the next sound is a k. Now when you say k, just watch a little bit what your tongue is doing, your articulators, that's always your jaw, your tongue, your lips. So when you say k in coins, your tongue moves back and there's closure at the back of your throat to say k. So 10, when you combine it with coins, just listen and notice what happens. 10 coins, 10 coins. So instead of saying 10, where the tip of your tongue is really just touching behind your teeth, we actually say 10 coins. It's an sound. And it will probably sound the same in the video now, but it's not the same sound. And I've given you the phonemic transcript next to it, and you can see it's a different sound. It's the same sound we always have in English when we spell ng or nk, or here nc. So it's an and the tongue moves back. There's no contact anymore with the tip of your tongue behind your teeth. So 10 coins, that is also assimilation. And then the following example is I should go. Should usually ends in a d sound, but if we combine it here with go and we say it fast, I should go, the should changes into a shug. Now the g isn't overly prominent because obviously it kind of, combines with the g coming next in go. And so just say it a couple of times fast. I should go, I should go. And again, I always think it's probably easier to feel the difference in sound than to hear it. So maybe just say it yourself a couple of times and notice what happens here. And that is assimilation. Now let's have a look at elision next. And that again means that sounds are lost. Most of the time in English, that means that a final t or d sound is lost. And again, here are some examples. The first sentence says he looked back and smiled. So we've got the word looked in the past tense, and the ed is usually pronounced as a t, looked. And then we've got end, and that usually ends in a d sound. But what happens when we say the sentence fast? He looked back and smiled. Hopefully you could notice in here that the t as well as the d are both lost, and there is elision here. He looked back and smiled. And in fact, with the end, there are two things happening. We've lost the d, but the has also changed into a schwa, that is vowel reduction. If you're interested in that, have a look at my other videos where I'll explain this a little bit more. And then a second example, I don't know if I can come next week. We've got don't and next, both ending in a t sound, but when we say it fast in the sentence, I don't know if I can come next week, the t is lost in both of those words. And that is natural. Don't know, and next week, there's no t anymore when we say it fast. So you can just try it out a couple of times and say it yourself. All right. Now let's have a look at another example here for intrusion. So intrusion means that sounds are added to link words. And like I said before, sometimes we also call this liaison. I'm going to call it intrusion now, but just be aware that you might see another word being used here. All right, and there are usually only 3 sounds that can be added. We either have a y, a w, or a r sound added, and none of the other sounds. Okay, so y, w, or r. All right, so we add them really to link words because it helps us to say the words faster and we don't have to pause, which would slow us down really. And I've given you 3 examples, but I did not write down which words or which sounds go in between. And so I want you to listen very carefully and see if you can hear which sounds are actually added. Is it w, y, or r? So listen carefully. Go away, go away. Again, I think you can actually see the sound because I form it with my lips. And the next one, I am always late. I am always late. What happens between I and am? What sound is added here? I am always late. And the last one, law and order are important. Law and order are important. Now, I needed to use this example. I'm not a Donald Trump fan, don't worry, but it's a very obvious example to hear intrusion of that particular sound. So let me show you the answers and let's see if you've got those right. So go away, there's a w added. Okay, go away, go away, go away. And the next one, there was a y added. I am always late. And then the last one obviously must be the R, okay? The R is added. Law and order are important. Now, this depends a little bit on your accent. Some people in America might just say law and order, but others would add a R here, law and order, okay? I certainly would say it this way. All right, okay. So hopefully this has been helpful. Now it's time to practice. All right, it's time to practice. Let's have a look at some examples. Here are 7 sentences. I want you to read over those and decide what feature of connected speech you can identify in each sentence. And there's one with 2. So you have to have a very careful look at that one. So take your time, pause the video, read over the 7 sentences, say them out loud, listen to yourself, and see if you can identify assimilation, intrusion, or elision, or maybe a combination of these. And then watch on to see the answers. All right, let's have a look at the answers. Hopefully this was not too difficult, but easy. So here are the 7 sentences. Number 1, she was ill and stayed in bed all day. We have assimilation here. In bed becomes in bed, so the n changes for an m. Number 2, I hope to see him next year. There is elision and the t is dropped, the final t in next year. And number 3, go on, try again. There's intrusion here. We have a w appearing between go and on, go on. Number 4, this was the tricky one. We had 2 things happening here. Tell me the truth and just say it. So there was first of all elision in both words, and there was the d last, and also in just, the t was also last, and just say it, and between say and it, there is intrusion and there's a y appearing, say it, okay? So that was a bit tricky. If you've got that, well done. And then number 5, I really want to lose 10 pounds. There was assimilation, n changing into to become more similar to the p that is following. Number 6, I'm staying with my mother and father. And there was intrusion here, a r appearing between mother and father. And that is because I am a non-rhotic speaker, so I would just usually say mother. There's no r for me at the end, but when it's followed by an end, I say mother end, okay? But you can hear it again, father, that I am a non-rhotic speaker. Mother and father, though, for me there's an intrusive r between mother and. Now, if you are a rhotic speaker, for example, if you're from America or from Scotland, then you would say a r here anyway. And then the last one, the baby loves mashed potatoes. So mashed potatoes, if you say it fast, the t in mashed disappears, so there is elision. So I hope you've enjoyed this and you've learned something. And why don't you leave me a comment and give me an example sentence with all three features, assimilation, elision, and intrusion, and then tell me what happens, and I'm going to have a look and check them. Right? Bye for now. Until soon.